Hello, beautiful people. You are listening to the Communal Table podcast, part of Food and Wine Pro. I'm your host, Kat Kinsman, senior editor at Food and Wine. I don't have a guest today. I had a chef lined up who frankly has other things on their plate right now, and is not in a great headspace to deal with other things, which honestly completely understandable. And I'm really hesitant right now about taking chefs out of the scramble that they're in currently, as they're facing the closure of the restaurants, having to lay off staff who are people who they have been working shoulder to shoulder with for a very long time, if not, in many cases decades. And they've got so much going on. The thing that I've seen happen, however, that I wanted to talk about today is that I have seen the restaurant industry come together in a way that shouldn't be surprising, because that's what restaurant people do, but is mighty and impressive, and I'm really, really heartened by this. The other thing that really heartens me is that chefs are finally asking for help. I sent out a note today to our 2019 class of Best New Chefs who have gotten a no. They're part of the Food and Wine family. All of our Best New Chefs are, all of our Best New Restaurants, but they're probably the class of Best New Chefs who I know the best. And I wanted to reach out to them to say that, we're all living in incredibly uncertain times, and that it was okay to express what they were going through without any fear of judgment, without any just worry about having to feel like they needed to be tough for anyone else, because usually chefs are the people who, when there's any kind of emergency, whether it is man-made or natural disaster or just any kind of community situation, they are the people who are on the front lines, feeding rescue workers, feeding displaced people, feeding people in shock, feeding their colleagues. And right now, they're the people who need our help. There are people who are suddenly jobless, people who have had to close down their business with no revenue for the foreseeable future. That doesn't mean that the bills aren't still going to come in. They have a lot of worry on their plate. And what I wanted to express to our Best New Chefs and to all the people out there is that it's okay to ask for help right now, because people really, truly want to help out all of you. Because, again, you're the people who are always there for us. People are not hesitant to go to restaurants and say, hey, my charity needs whatever it happens to be. Can you provide 1 million tasting portions? Can you donate? Can you show up? Can you do a demo? Can you do any of these things? And, chefs in this circumstance, of course, their impulse is to help out, to do what they do best, to go and feed people and take care of people. But they're in a situation right now where they're the ones who need it. And so I just wanted to let them know that it's okay. And in fact, it's fine to ask one another for help, whether that's, emotional or financial or whatever it happens to be right now. Everybody's kind of in the same straits. But it's also really time to ask your guests, your customers, your community to step up and help you here in this time of unprecedented need, because communities rally around restaurants. They are where we celebrate. They're where we get together. They're where we console each other. They're where we enjoy one another's company. They're where we celebrate all of our special events. And if we don't all step up right now and support restaurant people, those restaurants might not be around. The other people who we can ask to help it's the government, state and local governments. People are very uncertain about what to do right now. And this operates at a few particular levels. There are the suddenly laid off or displaced hospitality workers who need to file for unemployment. and it's, different different things in each state. I've heard many reports of states, especially here in New York where I'm recording this, where the website has been slow or crashed or somehow or another people can't get through and apply for benefits. And with that right now, you know, stay on it. We are going to be updating a list of resources for restaurant workers on foodandwine.com. I'll include the link in here, numbers that they can call or websites that they can visit to make sure that they sign up for their unemployment benefits and can have some of that. The other thing is I've seen a lot of really useful and robust petitions online where some really great people in the restaurant industry have gotten together to rally and join forces, join voices, and asking local mayors, asking governors, asking our representatives to lobby on a federal level, on a local level, on a state level for funding, for bailouts, for restaurants. If we can do this for some of the bigger industries, we can do this for the people who feed us every day. I'll include a link to the petition there, but it's something that's come together really quickly. I heard about it for the first time yesterday, and it since then has gotten well over 50,000 signatures to it. Let me look it up in my handy dandy list of resources right here. Yes, it's called Save America's Restaurants. It's a change.org petition, and every time I look, it has more and more people signing up, and there really truly is strength in numbers. Some of the other resources that we have going on are I'll provide links to things like the Gig Workers Collective's resources that has a state-by-state guide of places that you can seek relief. There's another link to the unemployment benefit state by state, tenant protection during the virus outbreaks. So you can find out in your state or in your city what laws have possibly been suspended. So, if you're afraid of being evicted or any other circumstance that might happen around like the place where you live or operate your business, there might be some relief for that. There's a link also to Feeding America, to finding your local food bank, because the terrible, terrible irony of this is that people in the service industry who feed other people are in danger of not being able to feed themselves or their families. Bar Methods is also working out a plan to lobby businesses who depend on them, who depend on bartenders to sell their booze and their products for some relief and recovery during this time. There are a whole lot of links here, but what I really wanted to focus on a little bit is a story that we had yesterday from the incredible Matt Jennings, who of Full Heart Hospitality. He is an extraordinary human being who really just wants to make life better for people in the industry. He's got a pretty amazing story himself, where he went through a tremendous physical transformation and sobriety, and he actually left the day-to-day restaurant world so he could focus on first his physical and emotional health, and support the health of the business as a whole, of the industry as a whole. So he really is one of our, the name of Big Heart Hospitality doesn't come from nowhere. He is one of the kindest and best people in, I'm going to say, humanity, not just the industry, who is very fully focused on making sure that other people can stay in business and stay well. He wrote an op-ed for us yesterday called "It's Time to Demand Government Action to Save the Restaurant Industry." And it is a full-throated rallying cry. Let me just read a tiny bit for you. Things will never be the same. After the past week of watching my beloved industry crumble to the ground under the forceful hand of the global pandemic COVID-19, like all of you, I'm left reeling, deeply saddened, angry, confused, and fearful of what's to come. As owners and operators, we are used to being in control. We are used to creating our own opportunities, having the authority and autonomy to mitigate and navigate disaster. to be a positive force within our businesses, like generals leading our troops to war, or a director gracefully conducting a daily or nightly performance. As employees and team members, we are used to being armed with the facts and set to a course of action. We operate from a place that gathers information and then uses that information to craft product and experience. Philosophically, these are simple concepts. But this week, we have seen when the above model is blown apart by the only thing that has a deeper and more profound control of any of our lives, nature. And he goes on to say to talk more about some of the industry efforts to mobilize. In fact, earlier today, he partnered with a bookkeeping business to do a webinar about what to do now, business ops guidance for restaurants as they're navigating this time. And in this story as well, he pointed out 4 different steps. It says the steps from here on out that are simple but excruciatingly difficult to endure. 1, recognize and fully embrace the challenges on every level. 2, believe there is a solution that can be achieved by group action. 3, trust the experts in individual fields to provide our best information. 4, gather unfolding knowledge and parallel process our demands for governmental action. Now, that governmental action part, if you've been on social media at all, you have seen pleas from everybody at every level in the restaurant industry saying that now is the time to contact all of our elected officials and demand help and a bailout and relief for the restaurant industry, because honestly, if they can do it for some of these large industries, airlines and all different other parts of our economy, they absolutely have to do this for restaurants and for the people who work in them. If you don't know how to get in touch with your local authorities, some people are using the hashtag SaveF&B in their social media posts, and that is a wonderful thing to do. That is really a great thing to do, and it's backed by the good folks at Chef's Roll, who always have chefs and their well-being in mind. They are chefs, they are of chefs, and all they want to do is to support the industry. But if you are looking for a way to find and contact your government officials, go to usa.gov, because they have a tool where you can look up your officials by zip code. And that is a really handy thing. And you can call, you can email, you can, text, send a carrier pigeon, do whatever it is you need to yell very, very loudly. And actually, a tool that I really love is called ResistBot. And you can easily find that. And it's a tool where it can operate from text, it can operate from Facebook Messenger and Twitter. And they're really fantastic. They figure out where you are registered to vote, and then it identifies your state and local and federal officials. You compose what you want to say to them, and then it sends it to them in one of those formats. And it's really effective, and it's so powerful, and you can reach a whole lot of your elected officials at once. We have to keep yelling about this. It is a frustrating time, and it feels maybe a little hopeless, like nothing we're going to do is going to make a difference, but it really does. I was talking to a colleague yesterday who wrote a really fantastic story about smart ways to support local restaurants who are trying what they can to stay in business, who are doing takeout and delivery, or who maybe are selling off some of their stock from their walk-ins, or still working with their local farmers, and instead using say farm baskets, like the people at Kismet are. They're still working with their local farmer who is able to provide baskets of really great produce that people are able to buy through their business, and that is a wonderful thing. And we have some of those resources on the site, so we can do some of those things. But my colleague was putting together one of these lists, and she said, this just feels like a drop in the bucket. The thing is, enough drops land in a bucket, and that bucket overflows. And that's what we need right now. We need every single voice. We need everybody in the restaurant industry. We need anybody who likes to sit down and take comfort in a restaurant to act now, to get in touch now with their local officials and demand this relief, this bailout, if we want to have an industry in the future. I'm recording from my apartment in Brooklyn, where I am practicing social distancing, and if you hear noise in the background, that is my radiator. I live in a very old apartment with very, very loud radiators, so I just wanted to note that's what's up with the sound quality. I was also told yesterday by our producer that my peas were popping, so she told me to put a sock over the microphone, so hopefully that is working a little bit now. So the thing I wanted to close out on is that in addition to working at Food and Wine, and actually sometimes they go hand in hand, I run a project called Chefs with Issues, and it includes a Facebook group with nearly 4,000 people in it. And I've been asking them what they're thinking and feeling. It's a safe place for people to talk about mental health and what they're going through and what struggles they're facing. There are a lot of really terrified people out there right now who are worried about how they are going to support their families, how they're going to make it through if they can't go to a daily recovery meeting. I've shared some resources in there for some really great online groups. In the Rooms is doing virtual recovery meetings. There are some incredible webinars that are happening right now as well that are based in breath work and meditation. A lot of the apps right now, like I am a big fan of Headspace, which over the past 6 months has really helped me develop a daily meditation process. I'm open about the fact that I struggle with mental health issues, depression, anxiety, ADHD, and a panic disorder, if we're keeping count, which I sure am right now. They're all in full flare currently. But the thing that is keeping me in check is having a daily meditation practice. And I was never a person who thought that this was something that I could do. Really, I thought, Mom, I just have this jackrabbit brain that isn't going to respond to that. For some reason, my brain took to this like duck to water. There's a lot, and it works for me. Anything from 1 minute to 20 minutes, and you can go longer if you want. But there are some great calming breathing exercises in there. I like the Calm app as well, that also has free content right now. And they have some incredibly calming background noises and music to use. I know a lot of chefs like to use Insight Timer as well. It sort of gamifies the process of meditation. And chefs are competitive and masochistic people by nature often. And I've been told by a lot of people that it actually sort of really, really helps with that. More than anything, check in on your people, even your people who seem like they're really holding it together right now. Let them know that you're a safe person to talk to about what's going on, the fears they're facing, that if they break down in front of you, it's okay. Everybody's doing that right now. It's all right to let it out right now, or else it's just going to build up, and that doesn't help anyone. And I see people in despair. And I know that can feel really, really dire right now. You are not in it alone. I can't say that enough. You are not in this alone. We are here. Reach out to me on Twitter or wherever else. I'm Kitten with a Whip on Twitter. Come to the Chefs with Issues Facebook page. We're there for you. If you go to foodandwine.com/FWPro, we have a slew of resources available for you there. All the content that we're doing and the stories with links to all these places that you can advocate for yourself and get hands-on resources and relief. My radiator is starting to get really loud, so I should probably cut this off, but please take a moment, close your eyes, maybe sit near a window, go outside if it's safe to do so. Take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just give yourself that time to have some calm in your life. And remember, you're still breathing, you're still there. We're all here, and we're all going to get through this in one way or another together. We just have to stick together. And with that, thank you so much for listening. I know these are challenging times. I hope this is of use to you. Stay tuned. We're going to have more tomorrow, and you'll be hearing from more chefs from around the country. And subscribe to the Food and Wine Pro newsletter, where we'll include all of our most recent coverage. And most importantly, take good care of yourself. Until the next time.